What's going on, everybody out there? It's Ron Brown, LMT, the People's Fitness Professional. Hold on, we gotta put those applause. We gotta sound a little stronger than that, man. We got the Moore brother CJ Shaw L with us today.
Islam, peace, family, peace, peace.
Peace, peace, peace. Let's go into it. So first of all, the brother just told me he has bars. I haven't heard them yet, but it's all good. We gotta figure that out. We gotta hear what's going on there. We gotta hear what's going on. So a more brother CJ Shaw L, I want you to break down to the people who you are, where you're from, your journey, and we're gonna end off at Moorish Science.
All right. Well, again, first of all, I appreciate you for having me. You know, um, and I appreciate your audience for tuning in and creating a space to be had on. Right.
Right.
Of course, I must before we really begin, I must acknowledge that uh, Allah is due all praise. In all things that I am and all things that I strive to achieve or have achieved or experienced is through the grace and will of Allah alone. And that I extend high honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali for helping me to understand that, amongst other things.
Yes, sir.
Um, Again, as you mentioned, my name is Brother CJ Shaw Ill. I am, as we have listed here, a faithful member of the Moorish Science Temple, America's Temple Number One. I'm from Chicago, Illinois, born and raised. Been in Chicago my entire life, with the exception of the few years I spent away in the Department of Corrections, the 7 years I spent away in the Department of Corrections. That's actually where I met the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, formally,
Mm,
where I actually met the Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
okay, that's interesting.
I had known of Drew Ali, or at least had heard the name, but I knew nothing about the Prophet until I was down in the crypts and was fully given the actual information.
Mhm.
Um, but as I mentioned, I'm born and raised in Chicago. I moved to Indiana for a couple years. I want to leave that out. My people from Indiana, you know what I mean. I went to high school out there for at least I tried to go to high school out there for a year. So I don't want to ever act like I don't have ties to that community as well. Them brothers and sisters out there, good people. Uh, but I've always felt um, that our people deserved more. Um, for lack of a better phrase, I can recall sincerely in elementary school when I had been informed that we had never had a so-called black president. Like they were saying, like Bill Clinton was the closest we would have to one at the time. It was like the early '90s. Um, and I'm just questioning, like, why? Like, what you mean? Like, he's not at the time identified as black. He's not black. Why are y'all calling him a black president?
Mhm.
And it was rationalized away like it was just something that our people could not achieve. And in my mind, right there and now, I was like, oh well, I'll do that type stuff. You know what I mean? Um, and again, just as I continue to grow, um, just different occurrences in my life shine light on the differences um, of experience between our people and other communities. Having lived in different suburbs, or like I said, I lived in Indiana for about a year and a half, and just the experience, was extremely different. And I learned a lot in those times. And as I grew into manhood in the Department of Corrections, also experiencing those differences, I learned to apply the rule of law. I learned to appreciate procedure and policy. You know, I learned to appreciate structure a whole lot. You know, because even though oftentimes, especially in those environments, individuals who, or let's just be plain, the correctional staff um, may oftentimes overstep, their responsibilities or their boundaries. But they do so because most people don't understand the policies and procedures to keep them in line.
Mm.
To remind them that they are also at work. You know, and by the grace of Allah, I was able to learn that there. Um, when I was gone, they was trying to lose me. They was trying to give me like over 30 years. They was trying to lose me. I had several, or at least I had a handful of armed robberies that called it a spree. I was being charged with, but there was no gun in evidence. But in Illinois at the time, there is or was a mandatory, I think 15 or 20-year gun enhancement. I think it was at the time. And they was trying to basically tell me that even though it's my first time being arrested, they're going to give me the minimum, which was 6 years on an armed robbery. but it carried a mandatory gun enhancement of 20 years.
Mm.
And I had 4 of them. So, you know,
Mm.
yeah. And so it inspired me to get in a law library. You know, it was either accept what they said or go check it out for myself. You know, and that was one of my first, like, real memorable lessons of man knows naught by being told. You know, man knows nothing by being told. If one would know, he got to be what he knows. You know, if one would know, he must be what he knows. So yeah, I spent a lot of time in the law library. Found out that that was unconstitutional. Came back, fought that, beat that. You know what I mean? Had to try down my cases and things, and throw out what they couldn't convict me of, and got convicted of lesser charges. You know what I mean? And ended
Oh,
up,
that's what's up.
by the grace of Allah, and only got ended up doing 7. Um,
Mm.
and in that 7 years, though, you know, again, experience, you know, times and climes where individuals who are in responsibility of helping to preserve my rights ultimately. You know, you oftentimes think that a person who goes to prison ain't got no rights. You know, they done broke the law, ain't no laws for them type stuff. But nah, that's not the case. You know, the
Mm.
accused have rights and the convicted have rights. You know, um, and so for me, my solace was in spirituality long before I went to prison. You know, um, I used to wake my then girlfriend up on Sunday mornings and let her know, hey, look, I'm on my way down here to go see Pastor John. And he feel me, I'm leaving out at 10 because they get it popping at 10:30. If you ain't in the car, you're going to get left. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And that was my real thing. Like, yeah, I was out doing my 1, 2 thing throughout the streets, you know, throughout the week. And then on Sundays, I went to go hear the word, you know. I enjoy praise and worship. You know what I mean? Like
Wow. Oh,
that's
so let's rewind a little bit.
yeah.
So you said Clinton, right? And you had some questions back then. So that would mean you were around like in your late 30s, 40s.
Yeah, I'm 39. Yeah.
There we go. There we go. There we go.
Yeah, by
Okay.
the grace.
Okay.
Yeah. 39
Yeah.
by the grace of Allah. I'll be 40 inshallah this year.
Oh, that's what's up,
Yeah.
man. That's what's up. So now growing up in Chicago, now in New York, we have our own perception of what's going on in Chicago. In fact, Chicago's drill scene,
Mhm.
I would say, has caused chaos. Chaos. Oh my God. So you already know, and you know, the drill scene in Chicago came about around maybe 2012, right? 2010,
I,
2012.
yeah, I would say more like 10ish, I
Yeah.
think. 10ish.
2010, 2012, around there. Because I think Chief,
9ish. Yeah. Yeah, Keith
okay,
was the ones who kind of really made it popular. But like
exactly.
to be completely honest though, I was in prison when the drill scene started.
Hmm.
I saw it kind of take off from in there, from behind the wall.
Right.
Um, we saw a lot of young brothers coming down, you know what I'm saying? Like from that environment, you know what I mean? Like we kind of saw it um sparking up from the inside, like I guess like you said, like beforehand.
Hmm.
Like it's some cliques that started up in the county jail in like '03, '04, '05, '06. People who are watching may know Savage Life, you know what I mean? Like those guys. Um, and a lot of them individuals, I think, are the people who kind of encouraged for the people on the outside to start acting the way that they acted. Because
Okay.
yeah, because on the inside in the county, them Savage Life boys was they was carrying their name. And yeah, and not long after that is when that whole music started being rapping about gang banging in the music. You know, we would in the earlier '90s, you would hear the music, people would rap, you know, their different cliques and their gangs and whatnot. But you didn't hear a lot of gang banging for real, like actual beef and naming people and stuff like that. You don't really hear a whole lot of that back in the day. You started hearing it a lot around that time.
Hmm.
A really good friend of mine too. I want to say also, I would be bogus if I didn't say. Really good friend and brother of mine, brother Heron Tracks Ill. He was a member of our temple. He's one of the co-founders of the drill sound as well. One of the original producers. He still produces to this day. He's produced for all those guys.
Oh, really?
Anybody, yeah, he's produced for all of them. Everybody that does Chicago rap music
Mhm.
knows Bro Heron Tracks Ill really well,
Okay.
actually. Yeah.
Now, as far as from what I know from just watching social media, right? You know, what I know about Chicago before the drill scene, from what I hear, is that it had more structure.
Yeah, absolutely. There's still structure though. That's what a lot of people get that misconstrued. Like there's not structure anymore. Um, no, and that's not the case whatsoever.
Mm,
Um, there are pockets where there are less structure than there used to be, but
mm-hmm.
there's still structure. Like you can still go in certain neighborhoods and it's still the same gangs that was there growing. Well, I don't want to call brothers gangs because we, away from that.
Right, right,
But organizations, you know what I
mm-hmm.
mean, for whatever they're organized for, you
Right.
know. But those brothers are still there. I got, I did a song way back when I was still doing secular music. Um, and the vast majority of the people I had in my video are what would be considered ops, quote unquote. They're oppositions from the organization that I grew up a part of.
Mm-hmm.
But I visited their hoods in my video. You know, I stopped through their hoods and whatnot, and that was back in like 2014.
Wait, so you visit their hoods, hop out the whip and
Yeah,
all that?
hopped out, shook up. What's up, fool? Kicked it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And it's all they guys out there, and their structure of guys is out there.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because I'm Blackstone to the backbone. Like it's not a secret. You see what I'm
Oh, okay. I see. I didn't want to. I didn't even want to ask you anything like that. Got you. But you put it out there. So cool,
Yeah,
cool, 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 cool.
yeah,
All right, all right. So Stone. All right. So in New York, as far as New York is concerned, people try to like discredit New York and say, "Oh, New York is a hip hop place. It's not about gangs and things like that. It's not a gang state and all of that." I hear that. I hear you, and I understand what people mean about all of that. However, New York always had gangs, so I don't know gangs and crews.
Wasn't it a movie like Gangs of New York or something like that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like the
So
Warriors, wasn't that in New York?
right, right, right. And this was like real stuff that was happening. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah, I know.
like, like Jolly Stompers. They had a crew, like a gang called the Jolly Stompers. They had the Savage Nomads. They had a bunch of gangs way back in the days. Then the gangs then morphed later on and became the Black Spades and things like that, and then became Zulu Nation, and then became the Bloods after that. So it's like it's always had a history, right? And right now in New York, from what I know, if anything changed, and in New York, just get in the comments and just tear me up, please. But in New York, blood rule, right? That's like it's a blood state. California is a pretty much a Crip state. Chicago, for what I know, is more of a GD state, right? Or GD city.
I wouldn't say that, but
I'm saying as far as numbers are concerned, numbers.
um, I would say that there are definitely more GDs in
Right.
Chicago than there are probably any other organized group.
Right. So that's what I mean as far as numbers. Just to clarify, everybody in those states, LA, in numbers, there are more Crips. In New York, in numbers, there are more Bloods. So
Yeah,
now, so now,
and
be, mhm.
no, I just was, and to be clear, like I said, what I mentioned in that video I was talking about, all the hoods I visited in that video was all GD hoods,
Mm.
you know, and I'm still super close with a whole bunch of GDs to this day,
That's what I'm saying. Like it's hard. It's hard not to. Like if you're from New York, if you're from New York City, if you're from New York City, I'm gonna. You know what? If you're from New York City, I'm gonna include Yonkers. I'm gonna include Yonkers and Mount Vernon is blooded up. I don't know what's going on in Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse. I don't know. I just know about where I've traveled, but it's blooded up in those areas. And usually, if you're from the city, you're gonna know a blood. You got to know a blood. Everybody from the city who's from the hood, really, they know a blood, right? So it's like 6 degrees of separation. You know that whole thing. So that means you would have to know GDs. So how does that work? Being
Well,
that,
so
okay.
so, but let me be clear too, because it's not a common thing for real. You have people who have family that might be from the other side, or like you said, for whatever reason, have somebody that they got close with from the other side. Um, but it's usually a reason behind it. To be honest with you, if you grew up in our generation,
Mhm.
um, after I want to say maybe after like 20 ish, like 2016 ish,
Mhm.
people about my age kind of started in mass being less concerned. You know what I mean? Well, no, maybe like earlier than that, being less concerned for organizations. But when we grew up, though, it was a lot more segregated. So much so, me and one of my best friends laugh about it fairly often. Um, Me and one of my best friend, he's GD, and we met through one of the BDs. But when me and him, when we met, we wasn't messing with each other at all, just because of our affiliation. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
But we used to get money together, and that's how we ended up. That's how our mutual BD homie, connected us to, because we was getting money. He was getting money. We was getting money. And so, yo, you need to meet. Da da da. And so it went like that. And that's how we ended up getting cool. And that's how a lot of people from their hood ended up getting cool with me. You know what I mean? And so I spent time out there hanging out with them, getting money with them, stuff like that. So when I went to prison, they was the ones who was writing me. They was the ones who was going to check on my mom, stuff like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So when I came home, them still my guys. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that's how when I came home in that video, you see me going back to them hoods.
Okay, that's what's up. So, are you like the only person that, not you, just the only person, but is it like a selected few that can do that, or this is like a new thing, as you said, like 2016?
Like again, it's more, it's individual based. You know,
Okay.
I wouldn't say like it's a select few, like I'm special or nothing like that.
Hmm.
It's just a trajectory of my life. You know, I had reasons to build camaraderie with people that at once upon a time we would have been into it. You know what I mean?
Right. Got you.
So I was just able to build on that note.
Got you. Now, Chicago, right? In my mind, some people say it's kind of like New York, like with the trains and stuff like that. And so what is it like, right? Like New York is like a melting pot, right? Everybody's like right next to each other. Is it like when you see, but back in the days, is it like on site, like, you know what I mean, with the ops, or?
It used to be. It used to be. I mean, I'm way too old for that stuff now. You know what I mean?
Oh
I
yeah,
don't.
yeah, yeah, of course, of
You know,
course.
I
Right,
don't be. I don't. I'm so far gone from that. You feel me?
right.
But growing up, it was that. Growing up, especially like colors mattered back in
Hmm.
the day. Whichever way you wore your hat mattered back in the day.
Hmm.
Certain types of hats mattered. Certain types of jackets, different sports teams, all that stuff mattered in Chicago. Yeah, and
And it doesn't matter now.
not as much, nowhere near as much. I don't think it matters anymore. I
Mm.
don't think it matters anymore. Not like it used to. Nah. And then too, like the neighborhoods aren't really the same. Like again, you have a few neighborhoods that are still structured, but a lot of the neighborhoods have been broken up, you know? But you still got a few areas that are like super known for being the organization that they are, and you don't be over there with your hat broke off the wrong way. They still will get on there with you walking down the street. No question.
Mhm.
No questions asked. That's disrespectful. Don't be on that in their stores and in their gas stations. You feel what I'm saying? Like they will get on it. That's disrespectful. So
Mhm.
there's definitely still neighborhoods where it's like that.
Got you, got you. So now moving around in Chicago, the if you let social media tell it, you can't go nowhere in Chicago without a pistol.
So nah, that's not the case. That's not the case at all. The guys, my city gonna probably get out on me for that because everybody wants to be, we all as men have to keep our up, right?
Right.
But nah, it ain't that for real. It's not that at all. You don't have to keep a slammer on you. If you into it, If you done something and you got some people looking for you, yes, keep it on you, because you got some debt on your back. People
Right.
come get that. But
Right.
if you ain't got, if you're not into it, like again, I said, bro, I'm 40 years old, man. I'm so far removed from that stuff. You know what I mean? I
For
got a
real.
lot of, and I got a lot of love in a lot of hoods. Like I've, helped. You know what I mean? Like I've been on this side of life for a long time now. You know what I mean?
Right.
I've done a lot to uplift. You know what I mean? For like 20 years now, by the grace of Allah.
Mm.
Well, not 20. Like going on. I'll be a member like 18 years next year. But so, yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like me, I go to the gas station, leave my doors unlocked, car running,
Mm.
keys in the car. You know what I mean? Nobody in the car, sunroof open.
Wow.
Allah
Wow.
is Allah is my protector, my God, and my salvation. Now, I'm not saying that so y'all can make me no target, right? And try to score off the guy who said he was all of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But
Now
I'm
start
just,
locking your car, bro.
you know, but sincerely though, nah, my city is a beautiful place. It's a lovely city. Like people here are very, very welcoming, very,
Mm.
very helpful. You know what I mean? You have to be situationally aware. You know what I mean? You don't approach if you see somebody, that's looking like they, up to no good, quote unquote. Don't approach that person for no help. You know what I mean?
Right.
But to be completely honest with you, if you see one of the shorties, walking down the street with his shiesty on, if you
Mm.
let your window down respectfully, yo, young bro, where is such and such? He gonna let you know. Oh, that's over here. Walk the bound. Like it's not going. Oh, you ain't from over here. Let me rob you. No, it's not gonna happen.
So now check this out. In New York City, we got the 5 boroughs, right?
Yeah.
And all 5 boroughs is known for something. No disrespect to Staten Island. All I know about Staten Island is Wu Tang and and Italians maybe. So I went to Staten Island probably twice, y'all. So part of my Staten Island people, I love y'all. Sorry. Uh but
It get wild on the island. Don't they? What's the projects the Woo was from?
yeah. That's what they say, but I don't know because I never really. It's hard to get over it. Like if like I'm from Harlem, right?
Okay.
So in the place I'm from in Harlem, you walk over the bridge, the Bronx is right there. So I never, if I wanted to go somewhere, I go either Manhattan or I go to the Bronx. I don't need to go to Staten Island. That's the last place I want to go.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? You got to catch a boat, I think, and
A little
it's a lot.
fairy thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's a lot. But now in New York City, you got Brooklyn is known. Everybody knows Brooklyn. You can definitely get robbed in Brooklyn. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's a it's a fact. You know what I'm saying? Depending on where you are in Brooklyn, it could go down. Everybody knows now. People say on social media the Bronx is dirty and all kind of stuff. I beg to differ. Y'all don't really know nothing about the Bronx. The Bronx is huge. You have its good spots and you have its ratchet spots.
Yeah.
The ratchet spots it can go down, and Harlem it can go down. Harlem is known more for like making money. So they say Manhattan keeps on making it, Brooklyn keeps on taking it. Uh, Manhattan keeps on making it, Brooklyn keeps on taking it. What's the other one? Uh, Bronx keeps creating it, and Queens keeps on faking it.
That's tough.
That's what KRS One said, right? So the Bronx is known for hip hop. Harlem is known for
Oh, that's right. He wasn't rocking with the bridge, right?
right. Harlem is known for getting money, getting fly. Brooklyn
Yeah.
is known for the robberies and all of that type of stuff. So in Chicago, the robbery and like the crazy extreme violence too. So now in Chicago, how's the demographic? How's the size broken up?
Uh, it's kind of similar, kind of. The West Side, to me, the West Side would be like how y'all display Harlem. The West Side is more flashy.
Mhm.
They real flashy, kind of loud people. You know what I mean? Real like boisterous, like talking to him, type of people.
Right.
Um, and like out west, like you have more intermixing of different organizations.
Mhm.
Um, Out south, is more where it's like where we used to be like structured gang for real, like structured organizations for real, neighborhoods for real. Like out west is more block based. Out south is hoods. You know what I mean? Out south is would be more like Brooklyn, so to speak, or at least from that aspect of, where it's more rugged at.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, they'll poke you out west too.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely poke you out west.
So poking means what? Because in New York, poking means
Oh,
stab you.
rob, to get poked is to get robbed.
Okay.
Yeah. In Chicago at least. And I shouldn't be doing that. We can't be doing that. If they don't know, they don't know.
Okay.
We can't do that. We can't teach nobody that don't know that part. You know what I mean?
Got you.
But though, the South Side the South Side is bigger and a little more structured, and yeah, it's more known for where it kind of go down at. You know what I mean? West Side will tell you, like I said, everybody want to maintain they tough, but West Side will tell you like they party out west. They're gonna party out west. You gonna come out to have a good time, fee all night on the block. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those type of deals. Out south, they gang bang still. So and then two, you had a lot more low income areas out south, and so you know what that produces. You know what
For
I mean?
sure.
That destitution produces that dog eat dog mentality. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have, so I have to get it, and apparently you have it, so let me get some. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that's the culture that it produces, or that it has produced. But it's Chicago is big, so you got your pockets. Like you got some of the worst parts of Chicago across a busy street from the best parts. Like for real, for real. Like Hyde Park, up the street from where President Obama used to live. Like you cross Cottage Grove, and it's rocking right there.
Mm.
Like it's you know what I'm saying, like and it's been like that forever. You know what I'm saying, and it's like that all over the city. You got from maybe say 80th to 83rd is decent, but from 79th to 75th is a little rough. And the further you go north, from 75th to 71st is rougher. From 71st to 63rd is rougher. You know what I mean? And once you cross 87th, it starts rough again. Like, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like the north side is they do a little gang banging up north, but it's like
It's not like the South.
nah.
No.
It's more it was more affluent up there. That's why. Yeah,
Okay.
you had more Europeans up there, and so then you had a lot of Spanish speaking people up there. So you had some of their organizations up there, and then just a handful of our people's organizations. Like the GDs had a couple sets up there, and the Greens and Stones had some sets, the Snakes had some sets, but it was like real small, one or two pockets of our people. The rest is mostly a few pockets of their, European people and Spanish speaking people. Then the rest is just more affluent people. The LGBT community, to be honest with you, that's what's known for up north. Yeah, they got a
Oh
neighborhood.
man, you might get yourself in trouble for that, man.
No, for real. They got a neighborhood up there. It's not a
Oh,
joke.
really?
I'm not, nah. They got a neighborhood up there. It's called Boys Town.
Oh wow.
They
Okay.
got like the flags are on their street signs, and the streets are painted with rainbows. Like they got a store, like stores, like
Oh
with like different
wow.
funny little, like different little play on names type of, you know what I'm saying? Like when you go through there, like Gay Mart type stuff instead of Kmart.
Oh,
Like
word?
no joke, yeah, for real.
Damn.
Like it's a little neighborhood, and like it's not far from like Wrigleyville, which is where the Cubs Stadium is. You know what I'm saying? And like other little, all the other up north stuff. You feel me? So like,
Got
you
you.
gotta label with that.
Now to take it now we kind of like took the audience into like a New York, Chicago perspective. How did you get from Stone? Okay, you already said you went to prison, and that's how you got involved with the with the prophet. Before that, you were Stone. You went to prison. How did you? Was it through an OG in the prison to say, "Yo, this is the prophet"? This is, and then what was your like the first literature you got?
So nah, really, well, kinda. Um, One of the generals, when I was in Division 6, we was in two together, minimum. When I first got there in the county, I was in minimum for like 2.5 months or something like that. Like I didn't stay in minimum for too long because they had, like gave me some positions and whatnot, some authority, blah blah blah. And then when stuff went wrong, people told on me, so I got put out the division type stuff.
Mm.
But then one of the somewhat elders back then, I was 20, and bro was like in his 40s. You know what I'm saying? Like 50s, maybe in his 50s.
Mm.
And so, you know what I'm saying? I see you be studying, what the man, you ever seen this type of stuff, Cause like, so let me back up a little bit. The reason why I had the little responsibility that I had when I first got there was because I knew the lessons that I was supposed to know, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that all of those lessons, or at least 90% of those lessons, came from the Moorish Science Temple of America.
Wait, hold on. Let's pause. I know what you're saying. Hopefully, the audience is going to catch what you're saying. You said 90% of those lessons come from the temple.
Yes.
Yo.
At that time.
At that time, okay.
At that time, 90% of those lessons, if not more, and I can stand on that. I stand on that because some of what I'm telling you, I've also relayed to the end.
Mm-hmm.
And per instruction of the end is okay. After some time, I was over headquarters to make sure everything went the way it was supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
And the way things were supposed to go was according to the Moorish Science Temple of America. That was a letter that I had to read to the entire community.
Oh, wow.
From up top, from all the way up top. And everyone knows that. If you anybody, or if you tied to anybody, they was either in the room or they heard about it.
Okay.
And so to go back, when I was a shorty, like I didn't know, like I thought that it was the lessons were in code because I could decode it. Like I could decode Grand Sheik, Assistant Grand Sheik. I could decode it.
Right.
And so I just thought it was a code. I didn't know that it was lock, stock, and barrel from the entity that it refers to. You know what I mean? Yep. I thought the Moorish Science Temple of America was code. I thought that was a code name. Until I was about 21.
Now, how did you discover that? Did you discover it from the information that was given to you?
So again, like I said, I had a little juice in the minimum. You know what I mean? And when I got over to the medium, one of the elders who was like from where I'm, like next to where I'm from or whatever, and I see you be studying, have you ever seen these lessons? You got the furtherance of it, And I'm like, oh no, I ain't never seen that. And so he gave me the questionnaire. The Quran questions for Moorish Americans, Quran questions for Moorish children, or affectionately known as the 101s. So I knew certain numbers because we would use the numbers for various purposes in covert conversation. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I knew those, I knew that, I knew how to do that. You know what I mean? But I didn't know that it came from, like I didn't know the whole set. Like I had never perused the entire set. And he like, nah, that come from this. You know what I'm saying? And so he put me all the way in tune. I'm like, oh, that's dope. All right, cool. You know what I'm saying? So it was like my first little introduction for real was the questionnaire. And then I had, not really gotten any more instruction. So the thing is, too, I have to back up a bit. I mentioned before that I've always been, spiritually inclined, and I was going to church even when I was out in the streets. So when I was in the county, I was still in church, about my spiritual journey and all that. You feel me? So much so to where I began to feel conflicted because as a stone, like all of our stuff is Islamic. All of our stuff is Islamic. Mm-hmm. And in jail, we, caucus, so to speak, with vice lords and everybody else that's under the fin. And we're all Islamic. So when we caucus, quote unquote, we open in our meeting up with Al-Fatiha. And
Wait a minute.
I pray I don't think I hope I'm not saying too much, but I mean,
Okay.
In this is in jail.
Okay.
The unifying prayer for the Finball is Al-Fatiha. So here I am, a Christian, having to say Al-Fatiha to open up these meetings with brothers. Because I got some juice, quote unquote. You know what I'm saying? Here I am, a Christian, got to pray over the dinner table for everybody in Arabic. Because I got juice, quote unquote. And so I had to tell the brothers, like, look, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm conflicted. You feel me? Like, I'm a Christian. I don't know Allah. Like, I don't know this Allah we talking about. Like, I get the lessons, I got all of that, but I don't know that. I don't even understand the translation. Yeah, I know what it say is translated as, but you know what I'm saying? I don't know, and I'm conflicted. And as a Blackstone, you don't have to be Muslim. Even though the lessons are mostly all Islamic, there's no compulsion in Islam, and that's stood on. You don't have to be Muslim. And so I stood on that. You know what I'm saying? I said, well, I don't have to be Muslim. And so on the strength of that, and since I'm telling y'all I'm uncomfortable making these prayers and things, I'm going to teach y'all, what you need to know. And I'll stand on security and, y'all open up. And then once this opened up, I'll come on in and we can, take care of business. So that was that. And so after a while, being in that position of having responsibility, when stuff will go wrong, and like I said, they told on me the first time I got sent to the hole for something, I had nothing to do it. Took place again. So now I'm like, all right, man, y'all not gonna keep getting me jammed up. I'm 20 years old fighting all this smoke, trying to come home. And I'm steady going to the hole for stuff that I ain't got nothing to do with. Another deck go up. They coming to get you because you got, you know what I'm saying, you got the building for them people, you know what I'm saying, for your guys. So they blaming you. You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm 20 years old trying to fight these cases. I'm not finna keep going back and forth at all. So I told the brother at that point, I said, look, I'm gonna jump off count. You know what I mean? Which basically means, you on your own in there. You know what I'm saying? So I jumped off count. So like my last year in the county, I was off count. And so when I got to the joint, I stayed off count. When I got to the joint, when I got to penitentiary, I told the brothers there, like, I ain't getting on count. You feel what I'm saying? I still got another case I'm fighting out of state. I got 2 more cases at the time when I first touched down. But one of them was out of state. I'm like, no, I'm fighting too much drama. You feel what I'm saying? I got to focus on, you know what I'm saying, trying to come home. And at the same time, too, my faith, I'm not comfortable, you feel what I'm saying, in my faith, you feel what I'm saying, moving in that fashion. I'm always going to be Blackstone, but as far as having to move with the multitude and whatnot, I wasn't with it at the time. And they respected it, you know what I mean? They were like, they respected it. The blessing in it, though, for me, was that while they respected it, my perspectives, for the people was also I still walked with the brothers, you know what I'm saying, still communicating, converse with the brothers. So my perspectives was appreciated, So even though I wasn't technically on count, when stuff would go on, I would be sought for, hey bro, look, this going on. How do we deal with this? What you think? Type stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so through that, my man Gerald Bow, I'll never forget broski, he cut into me, man, bro, why you off count type stuff. I let him know, well, this is why. You know what I'm saying? My faith is this and that and da-da-da-da. You're like, all right, bro, I feel you. You know what I'm saying? I got something that might be right up your alley. You know what I'm saying? I'm hearing what you're saying, and how you love the people and, how you don't know Allah, but you love Jesus. And, you know what I'm saying? All this type of demonstration. I got something that might be right for you, bro. And so he slid me the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple America up under the door. I say up under the door because I was in Max Joints. We was locked in the cell. He slid the joint up under the door. And, by the grace of Allah, I'm like, all right, I had already been but praying for understanding. So I've alluded several times to me being spiritually inclined and being in the church and things, and jumping off count in the county from the stones because of my spirituality. I also separated myself from the church in the county too, though. to be clear. In the county is where I learned what the church is. In the county is where I learned what Christianity is, that Jesus was never a Christian. You know what I mean? Like, this is where I really got to delve deeper into the Bible, and where I really got to question what I thought was spirituality versus what I had been taught. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so by the time I left the county, I identified as a follower in the teachings of the Christ, but not a member of the church nor a Christian.
Mm.
Right? Because I knew that, Christian was a derogatory term given to the followers of Jesus in Antioch. Like, I had learned that by that time. And so for me, that felt like disrespect to call yourself a Christian but say you follow him. You know what I mean? And so when you get to prison, you have to have a certain, or in max joints at least, you got to have your religion on the back of your ID. You can't just go to any religious service in the max joints. You know what I mean? Like, you can only go to your religious service. So when you get there, they ask you what your religion is. So I had that conversation with them. Like, look, I'm not a Christian, but I'm following Jesus Christ. Da, da, da. So like, well, the only place you're going to hear about some Jesus is in the Christian service. So that's what they put on the back of my ID. Mm-hmm. So, bro, he hit me with the same joint. What's on the back of your ID? You know what I'm saying? I got something for you type stuff. You know what I mean? And that's when I let him know, like, look, it say Christian, but I ain't no Christian. You know what I'm saying? I done already worked myself out of that. And so by this time, so I went through all that to say, like, I had spent the last year or so in the county, year and a half or so in county, like studying the sutras, studying the analects, trying to read the Quran. I say trying to read the Quran because I couldn't. I tried to read Quran of Muhammad twice while I was in the Quran. I was in the county, and I didn't understand it. It was as if the book was locked. Like that's that scripture where it says you'll be handed the book and they won't be able to read it as if it's locked. It was as if it was locked. I didn't understand how it was put together, how it was organized. I didn't understand nothing about it. Like how it was, like the ayah story. It was beyond me. But I was striving. I was striving to find a spiritual foundation outside of Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had that conversation with bro. Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying. I've been around the game, but kind of searching. I got something for you. It's probably right up your alley. You feel me? He shot me the Quran, so I put that joint in the cell. And I'm like, I prayed at the time. I'm like, man, God, Yahweh, Allah, by whatever name is yours, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's been at least 2,000 years since at least Jesus came. Possibly. That's what it says. You know what I'm saying? Now, how many times they have changed your name since then? A merciful God, a just God can't fault me for that. Now, the same God, Yahweh, Allah, whomever, whatever your name is, that been riding with me and holding me down since birth, that protected me from death all those times, that same God that keeps me going is the same God I'm reaching out to. It's the same God that I'm praying to help me to understand if this is for me to understand. If this pamphlet is for me to understand, then by all means, uncloud my mind so that I can understand it. Open my eyes so that I can see it. Unclog my ears so that I can hear it. Soften my heart so that it sows deep into it. So that in due time I can speak with my mouth the words of God. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But by all means, if it's not for me, then blind my eyes from it so that I can't see it. Clog my ears so I can't hear it. Cloud my mind so that I won't understand it. And harden my heart. Let it not sink deep within. God, in your boundless power, by all means, take this pamphlet from me, remove me from this cell block, cell house, put me in a different prison. Don't let me drink this cup of filth if this is more murkiness. Because I just spent the last several years looking for you. Mm. And it ain't my fault that I don't know where to find you. Mm. But if this is a way to understand you, by all means, I pray let me understand it. And bro, when you read the front cover of that joint, that's what it is. Divinely prepared by the noble prophet Jurali, by the guiding of his father, God Allah, the great God of the universe, for the purpose, right? To redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life, not alone, but with his father, God Allah. Mm. You open that joint and say, know thyself in Allah. Mm-hmm. Bro, that's what I was looking for the whole time. The genealogy of Jesus. That's what I've been looking for the whole time. So I'm like, oh, it's up. You know what I mean? I read page 3. It's talking about, this for all those who love Jesus. I'm, oh, okay. So it ain't, you know what I mean? I'm still cool, Yeah. By the grace of Allah, man, I studied the Quran. We was on lockdown too, because they do institutional lockdowns once a year so they can shake the whole joint down. And I got down there, I never forget, I got down there the day after Roman Christmas, December 26th. And they locked us down December 29th. because they're gonna lock down for the new year, you know?
Yeah.
And so I say that to say I had all that time in my cell to read. You know what I mean? Like we wasn't like even like I was in Max, so we only left out for lunch, dinner, and yard every other day anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But since we was on lockdown, they would bring in lunch and dinner to us and wasn't no yard. So I'm in the cell with just me and the Koran, eating. Me, the Koran, and my Bible, eating. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And by the time we came up out that joint, I was ready to go to meetings. Because I already had the Divine Constitution bylaws on my temple. You know what I mean? Like I already knew it from being, part of the organization.
Now when you got out of prison, where did you go?
So while I was in prison, I ended up meeting the National Grand Sheikah's son.
Mm-hmm.
The two of her sons actually, by the grace, were there. I met both of them actually, but I ended up doing time for real with one of them, the youngest one, my little brother Hanif Jackson Bay. May Allah be pleased with all he does and all he's done. May Allah strengthen him. He's still in the feds right now. Won't be home in about a year or two, about a year and a half, inshallah. Um, but when bro was born, his father was National Grand Sheikh and his mother was National Assistant Grand Sheikh. He was born the day after the Prophet's birthday. From my understanding, they was trying to have him on the Prophet's birthday. Bro was my guide in preparation to Sheikhhood. He caught me in the joint. I had been gone like 4 years, like 3.5 years, 4 years, and he caught me, down there thinking I was Moorish American and knowing something. You know what I'm saying? But wanting to know the truth. I had all the sovereign citizen literature. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? I had all the, what I'm saying, all the UCC stuff and the
Yeah.
Washington stuff, and you know what I mean? I was ready, I thought I was him. But I also knew, or at least I also thought that there was an infiltration and blue light versus white light and all of that demonstration, because there was a lot of blue lights in the joint. Wasn't no white lights for real though, And so when I bump into him, he's carrying a white light. And so I'm trying, where you get that? You ain't ready for this. You don't know about this. And so, he was very selective, I'll say, asked at first when we was talking, asked if I was sincere or not,
Mm-hmm.
But after, some conversations and things, he respected my sincerity and, he introduced me to his mom and the rest of the council and things of that nature. The prison we was in had a lot of Moorish Americans in it. A lot. They were fully functional on both sides of the joint. There was two different temples that met weekly. Like they was fully functioning. But not everybody's always sincere. You know what I mean? And so you don't necessarily want to turn everybody onto your mom. You feel me?
Right.
From in here, you still got a little boatload of time to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he was selective about that, which I honor. So anyway, but bro called me though, introduced me to mom now, and the council, got to know me and things. They started sending lessons down for me, and so when I say he was my guide, he had to like oversee my development, and bear witness back to the council as to what I'm doing in there. You know what I mean? We had to learn certain things and relay certain things from memory that we couldn't relay over the phone. So you had to have another sheet to relay it to mouth to ear. And so he was that person for me to bear witness and say, yeah, he learned it and he gave it to me mouth to ear, or yeah, he came back and unfolded, mouth to ear type demonstration. And there was even a time when after I had already earned my white light, which is basically the condition of being prepared for adaptation in that group of Moors that I was with, is the German Bay group of Moors. After that period, there was an issue in the joint with the Stones. Like they was at war with somebody. I can't remember who it was, but ultimately, bro was like, "Yeah, I don't think you should carry the white light anymore because you still have an affiliation to the Stones. And if something should happen with them, you gonna go. And if something should happen with you, we gonna go. And that means you gonna get us involved in something that really don't got nothing to do with us, type stuff, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't understand though that the Stones foundationally are an organization for the uplifting of fallen humanity. That the Stones foundationally have a requirement for spiritual and personal development. Now, what individuals do outside of that is their own thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
By the grace of Allah, by that time, I was elevated to a position where I was again, you know, responsible for things, you know? My responsibility, I like to think that I was responsible in my responsibility, so to speak. Like I didn't encourage the brothers to get involved in stuff that would be detrimental to them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I encourage your brothers to spend times on things that was useful to them. And in fact, that's one of the ways that I kind of got known when I was in there. Because when I went to one of the prisons they sent me to, I got kicked out seg to seg. The joint kicked me out. But they promised me that the other prison I was going to had a Moorish Science from America. And it didn't when I got there. And so I went on a campaign in there, getting request slips from everybody. We did a hunger strike, some more stuff to get the temple open while I was down there by the grace of Allah. And one of the things that I did was basically I told the brothers, if you're not already going to somebody's religious service, send me a request slip for the Moorish Science Temple of America, or don't be out your cell flagging like you know what I'm saying, moving in this manner. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you not about some kind of development, you need to be coming here to develop, or stay in your cell type stuff. You feel me?
Right.
And so again, fast forward back to when I was with Lil Bro, I reminded them then, like, listen, I'm not, you know, somebody that's just kind of following orders type stuff. You know what I mean? I'm more or less keeping peace around here, you know?
Right.
And the situation took off where on the other side it was going on, you know what I mean? And I made sure that on my side, you know, things was just, you know what I mean? And it was respected, and ultimately my white light was given back to me because it was showing and proving, like, you know, that
Okay.
the situation took off, like, no, it was, you know, it was showing and proving, like, no, it's gonna be just, you know what I'm saying? And that's so, you know, I developed a little appreciation there. So I relate that because that's always been a part of my message, so to speak, is that as a Blackstone, it's my perspective. Now, this ain't the perspective of Stones. I'm not speaking for Stones. I'm not speaking for the CP. I'm not speaking for nobody. You feel me? So don't nobody call me talking about some bro was on there talking about nothing. What I said, I stood on, I stand on. And everybody know I can and do. That's that. In regard to my perspective, it's my perspective that the Blackstones are like the infantry, ground force, the youth movement of the Moorish Science Temple of America. It's my perspective. That's what the Stones are supposed to be. Not that that's what the Moorish Science Temple of America has adopted them as. Not that that's what the Stones have chosen to be. That's my perspective based on our history as an organization and the laws and customs of the organization. I relayed that information to the founder of the organization, and he called me his brother and said that's a good perspective, and to teach others to move in that fashion. And for a time, that's what I was doing.
And you talking about Eman Malik?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. For a time when I came home. So again, I'm saying all of this because when I came home from the joint, the Moorish American knew that my perspective was that the young people that should be in the movement in the Moorish America are many of the Stones. If they only knew and understood for real, they would be members of the movement. You know what I mean? And so it's my responsibility as a Stone and a Sheep to make that apparent to make that clear to the brothers and sisters that this is the further development of what it means to be Blackstone. You know what I mean?
Got you.
And I carried that perspective throughout my time in prison. Once I, got the information, jumped back on counting some more stuff. And when I came home, so by the grace of Allah, bro, and it's Allah alone, like it's truly divine, right? So when I come home from the joint, I'm in school, and this little sister and this a bunch of brothers, like whenever this goes live, it's probably gonna be like maybe like 6 brothers, maybe if they see this, they'll be like, oh yeah, remember that, because it's a thing. So when I was in school, one of the brothers' girlfriend was like, "You talk like my boyfriend now. You talk like my boyfriend now," because we got a lingo, so to speak. The Moors and the Stones carry a similar lingo because of the lessons. You know what I mean? That's why the customs are the same or similar, right? And so at the time too, like I was like anti like Stones who aren't like actually a part of the organization. Like by the 2015, 2020, anybody's walking around claiming stuff these days. You know what I'm saying? But if you wasn't actually like in tune with headquarters, going to meetings, like studying lessons, like I was anti. And I was like that before I went to prison. You know what I'm saying? I've been like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you're not, you know what I'm saying, tied in for real, I don't really be, you know what I'm saying, on that for real. But so I tell her like, yeah, like, nah, your boyfriend and probably a little fake stone or whatever. I'm Moorish American. You know what I'm saying? And she's nah, they Muslims too. They Muslims too. Nah, they probably, you know what I'm saying, called it. Nah. She's pressing me about it at this point. So like a couple days go by where she's pressing me like, yo, they want to meet you type stuff. And nah, I'm cool. Cause I'm a sheep at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, no offense, but in my mind at this point, ain't nothing Stone can give me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm already, like Stone has already elevated me to this particular position of Blackstone. And now the Moorish Science American has elevated me to this particular position of sheephood. And ain't nothing there unless y'all moving in the signs of uplifting fallen humanity. And from my understanding, y'all not. That was my misunderstanding when I came home from the joint. There was a collection of Stones who I was close with from in the joint that was also out here, the Tribe of the Truthful, Banu Sadiq, shout out Sadiq, that are moving, in an exemplary way, a pure way. I connected with them when I was in prison, and I stayed connected with them when I came home. So other Stones I wasn't really trying to rock with because I felt like they wasn't really on the uplifting. But she was pressing me about the fact that no, her boyfriend and them are really for real. So I'm like, all right, I'll meet him. So I met him not far from where I was on house arrest still, so I had to meet him not far from my house. So I met him or whatever, we chopped it up. And I told him then, like, look, I'm already where I'm at for us. Ain't nothing you could do for me. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can't like give me the carrot on the stick. I'm gonna make you one of these type stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm already that. Like I'm already that. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm this also for the Moorish Science Temple America. And this is where my focus is. Like being what I was for the Moes, it wasn't gonna do nothing for me. It wasn't do nothing for us in humanity, for us in community, because the group of Stones that I was a part of, we was all like all of us was, you know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? Like we all playing spades. You know what I mean?
Right.
But so after meeting with them and talking with them, and they, telling me that no, we're serious about uplifting fallen humanity, the movement, the nation, the headquarters is, has revamped. Like I don't know if you've heard, but things are moving back the right way. I'm like, yeah, I heard, but to be honest, I don't believe. And shout out P. Mook Mean, man, I'll be pleased with all he's done. He's now sailing on smoother seas. Him, my brother Jihad, shout out Jihad. Jihad is still out here. And a couple others was like, nah, for real, like it's really that, and we giving you our word, like it's really that. And whenever you see it's not that, step away from us all. And I'm like, okay, on the strength of that, I can ride with that. You feel what I'm saying? And so I went back in the house that same day, called my grandchickens and told her, I said, hey, listen, these stones that met with me out here. You know what I'm saying? They saying that they moving in the signs of the truthful, like my other collection is moving the signs of the truthful. I'm gonna give them a shot. She's like, all right, son, well, you got the lesson. You told me that's what you was gonna do when you came home. So take your prophet with you. All right, bet. So I find out where to meet, where it's at, where headquarters at. You feel me? Where we meet. You feel me? Bro, by the grace of Allah, I'm trying to figure out how to communicate this properly, you know? The German Bay Group is mostly in DC, in Baltimore on the East Coast. They used to be in Chicago. They left Chicago some years ago, back in the 70s. Around this time, they was preparing to reunite with the Chicago group. The Chicago group they were preparing to unite with was holding meetings in the Stones headquarters. They didn't know that until I found out, until I told them. How we found out? Well, because when they said, look, we finna come to Chicago, we think about uniting with this group, go over there, start meeting with them. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, see how they moving and whatnot. You know what I mean? All right, cool. Where is it? What's the address? They give me the address. Yo, that's the same address as the Stone. You hear me? That's the same address as headquarters. And so I'm like, so my work is already done then. The work of getting the Stones in the temple to do right, it's already done there, was my perspective. You, John? And so by the grace of Allah, I started coming down and meeting and holding meetings with the Moors, and also holding meetings with the Stones and everything, you know, and just making sure that the understanding was there as to our relationship to the information. And like I said, my relationship with the Moorish Science Temple has always been, or at least since I joined, has always been a sincere one, like a for real sincere. You know, like I don't play about it at all with nobody, even the Moes. Like I done got into it with the Moes. I done got into it with the Stones about the Moorish Science Temple, and I maintain that it is what it is. It do be what it is. You know what I mean? This is my salvation. You know what I mean? And that's just what that is. And so in that though, like a year or so later, I ended up going through the chambers, and that's when I was given a warrant of authority and charter and all that. I took my warrant of authority back out south, in the suburbs where I was paroled to an house arrest at, and I was holding Sunday school meetings, and so all the Stones that was up under me was coming to my Sunday school meetings. You know what I'm saying? Mandatory. Yeah, that was and if you was a Stone in the south suburbs, in any of the south suburbs of Chicago, from 2013, I don't want to give name, dates, and issues because that might tie up stuff. But yeah, if you had to come to Sunday school meetings, and we was learning the questionnaire. Yeah, learning your prayer, learning to read the Quran, straight up, standing on that with an iron fist, to the point where the imam, like it was a good report. Like, you know what I'm saying, the table and whatnot, it was a good report. You know what I mean? And the imam was like, yo, I want to hear from that brother. And it was by request that I started writing him and informing him of what was going on and that we was teaching and whatnot. He said, that's a good thing. And he stamped what I was doing. And he stamped and told me to, at that time, I was elevated again by him to make sure that everything went according to the ways that the Prophet Noble Ali left it. And that letter was read to everyone. That's what I referred to earlier.
Gotcha. Now, so as far as Moorish science, how did you then later on get into? I think you created an organization.
Yeah. So, man, bro. So, in prison, you know, you think that the Moorish Science of America is what you read it as. You know, you think that you're finna come home to this big, beautiful nation of people who love each other and are united and is love, true peace, freedom, justice, and nationality, and you know what I'm saying? Like it's that, but it's not. It's not. The movement is very divided. You know what I mean? Like very sectarian. You know, like I said,
You're saying the movement in the entire state or just in Chicago?
The entire condition of the Moorish Science Temple of America is divided. And you don't really know that in prison until you get home, and it's like all them different people you was writing, trying to get a response back, are active today. Like, I'm thinking that these are successive leaders. Like, I'm thinking Braswell Bay, Bailey Ill, Kenyu Bay are successive leaders. Nah, they all out here today. Or at least they were when I came home. You know what I mean? Rest in peace. May Allah be pleased with Bailey Ill and all he's done. He's settled on smoother seas as well. But so having that experience though of the disunity and coming from that prior mindset of knowing that our people deserve more. Like, I'm a student of W.E.B. Du Bois and Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey from before knowing the Prophet. Like, I read and studied those men before knowing the Prophet. You know, studying organized movements like NAACP, the Black Panther Party, all those things before meeting the Prophet. Like, this is the type of person I was as a young person. You know what I mean? I've always appreciated the strength of unity. And so to see our movement so disunited and broken up like that, you know what I mean? Like, I've always taken a lot of effort, even when I was in leadership. I was a Grand Sheik for a while, and as a Grand Sheik of a temple, my thing was always to work with other temples. The number that we was given was 25, and my perspective was always in the brain of chapter 25, a Holy Covenant, you know? And so we would work with some of everybody, go visiting places. Like, in fact, that was something that I did every single year until we started holding our own Prophet's birthday celebration. I would take the Moors around to visit all the other temples. So we would go visit Kenyu, we would go visit Bailey Ill, we would go visit Braswell Bay, all in the same night, you know? And because I wanted the Moors to see and meet the other Moors. I'm not pressed about, they're going to take my members. And, you know what I'm saying? Right. Let's go meet the Moors. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a program going on, y'all. Let's work on this together type stuff. And over the course of several years, like 6 or 7 years of trying to work with Moors and put myself on the back burner as a Grand Sheik, trying to hoist others up, you know, so it's not, doesn't seem like a competing thing, you know? Trying to bring others together. I saw it still, it wasn't a lot of support being given, largely because I was a Grand Sheik. And the perspective behind closed doors is that if our members support this program that has come from him and them, then what's stopping our members from just joining him and them? You know what I mean?
Right.
So Grand Sheiks from other groups wasn't really prone to say, yeah, we're going to support that idea that Bro Shawil and them got, because their perspectives are, well, Shawil and them ain't legitimate, you know? Like, Braswell Bay going to tell you Bailey Ill and them illegitimate. So Braswell Bay is not going to support nothing that Bailey Ill offers him. Same thing with the Kirkland Bay group. They say Bailey Ill and them illegitimate. Same thing with Kenyu. They say the Kirkland Bay, like, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
So I said, okay, well, I'm going to take the Grand Sheik hat off. I'm going to take that sash off. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to take that title off. I'm going to take that competition off. I'm going to take that threat away. I'm going to make myself a member. I'm going to show y'all what I've been talking about. I don't need to be a leader. You feel me? Like, I'll sit and be a member and still be just as effective. Still be just as impactful. And so I resigned from being the Grand Sheik, became a member of Temple Number 1, which is where I believe that everybody in Chicago should be. That's my sincere belief. That's why I did it. Still, there is stigma because, you know, Moors don't want to work with the ink, quote unquote. You know, the other groups of Moors still don't identify with them. And so I said, okay, well, I'm striving to find a medium that can offer the Moors space to work together, you know? And so that's why I created the nonprofit, the Alliance for Moorish American Progress. May Allah be pleased. Praise Allah, that was dope.
So now you created this organization, and what is going on? Because I see you, let me see. I reposted it. I just forgot exactly what was said on it. Let me look at this. All right. So the Alliance of Moorish American Progress Civics Education and Engagement Meetings. That's your organization, right?
Yeah, yep. The Alliance for Moorish American Progress. Yeah, it's a think tank and action network, a national think tank and action network with international support. Um, we have a handful of focuses. Civic education engagement is just one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the ultimate goal is to create space again as a think tank and action network. The prophet said, "If I get you more to think, you'll save yourselves."
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, and I sincerely, believe and have faith in that. And so, for those of us who are thinking along the lines of progress, we should be able to come together and share those thoughts and share those ideas, share those best practices. Share what works and what didn't work. You know, share our resources and our research with those who are also active and not passive. The action network. You know what I mean? Because not all of us, and no offense to nobody, but not all of us are active. And then there are those of us who are active, and action is her delight. You see us all the time doing stuff, engaging in things, pushing the line. You know what I mean? So let's create a collective of those who are active, of those who are thinkers. And let's start sharing the ideas and creating space where you can go and find the ideas on your subject matter. Go and find, the best practices on that subject matter. You know what I'm saying? About other brothers and sisters who also are interested in or focus on or skilled in those subject matter areas.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the areas that we focus that our goals are outlined for are cultural advocacy and cultural heritage preservation, economics and entrepreneurship, civic education and engagement, building strong communities through civic education and engagement,
Mm-hmm.
um, sustainable agriculture and holistic health practices,
Oh
ed-
wow.
educational research and excellence. Um, yeah. hmm And so the goal or the intention, the way the organization is established, is that any three members who are interested in a subject matter area are encouraged to create a committee or subcommittee to think and act along those lines. So, say for example, you and two other Moors are experienced or skilled in media, and y'all want to start corralling media resources and best practices and using media to our advantage as a community. Cool. Y'all become the media committee or subcommittee, and y'all start holding meetings whenever y'all have time and space. And the rest of us who have some interest will attend those meetings, and the rest, who have capacity will do more and be involved more. Who know more will offer more, and who know a little less will learn more. You know what I mean? And so for me, by the grace of Allah, I work for the House of Representatives now. I'm the district affairs manager for one of the state reps. And I was a district outreach manager for two state reps at one time, at the same time. But I'm the district affairs manager, community affairs manager for one of the state reps now. And a lot of that work entails working with organizations to communicate their needs and issues to the state reps and state agencies and the state government at large, helping with right legislation and support advocacy efforts and things of that nature. And so I'm like, well, this is my not just what I do for a living, but as I mentioned to you, it's been my focus since I was a fairly young person. I even went to school for political science and government a couple years back in 2019. Um, and so the civic end is just where my passion lies. So that's what I push. You know what I mean? My hope is that other Moors, like my good brother Aston Simmons Bay, he's always into economics and business. Every time we talk, man, well, I got this business idea. Well, I got these business resources for you. Well, he's got these virtual offices that he's trying to get the Moors to use, which is a beautiful, amazing idea. Like everyone get a virtual office and meet in a virtual office space is really dope. You should really check it out. Shameless plug to a young brother. But I tell him all the time, Mo, I need to put you with a couple other business Moors and y'all just start holding the economic committee meetings. Like, yeah, I own a couple businesses also, and yeah, I'm business savvy also, but It's because I know that I should be. You know what I mean? It's because
Yeah.
I understand that I need more multiple streams of income.
Right.
Like business isn't really my passion. Business is those Moors' passion.
Mhm.
Like they be looking for the business resources. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, the business banks and the business this and that. Bad. Like y'all hone that. So the rest of us who are on the fringe can come get it when we need it. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Right.
I'm gonna hone the civic part. And
Now,
those who are interested in civics come meet with me and let's hone the civics.
now, would you say this is the way, just in your opinion, would you say the way you structured the organization is the way the Moorish Science Temple should operate?
Some of it, yes. I modeled it after what the Moorish Science Temple of America of what some of the Moorish Science of America should be doing. Yes, without a doubt, a contradiction. I was taught organizing by the Prophet Noble Drew. Even though I studied, the Panthers and the NAACP and UNIA, like I studied these other movements, I didn't really study how to organize through those movements. Prophet Noble Drew taught me that I need a secretary, treasurer, and a chairman.
Right.
You know what I mean? And with that, that's how each of these committees start. You need someone to keep your records, you need someone to manage your finance, and you may need someone to manage your meetings.
Right. So now my idea, right, for the Moorish Science Temple of America was to create a technology department,
Mhm.
because the older Moors, they're not technologically savvy
Right.
as the younger Moors. And to have like a technology department to where that department is educating whoever needs the education on technology, as well as creating websites and all the necessary things to market and promote the temple, is essential. So that's why I wanted to create the technology department. Also, technology, like let's say for instance, like for a website, social media, and all that. There needs to be a liaison between uh the temple officials, and let's say if someone was to work on the temple's website, there needs to be a liaison between the two, because there's to work on a like a website and social media and all these different things. You can hire people to do that. You don't have to do it yourself. It's actually easier nowadays. You could just go to Upwork, hire someone on Upwork, but you would need someone in between to talk to the temple and the people who are setting the website up for you. So that was one of the reasons why I said, there needs to be a technology department within, the temple. That I think that's missing. However, you created an organization where, like, if I would say, yo, I want to be down with this organization, let me create a technology department. Well, go ahead, more, do it. That's how your organization functions.
Yes, sir. You and two others,
Right.
and
So,
and
mhm.
start publicizing y'all meetings, publicizing your findings. You know.
Okay, now publicizing your meetings, meaning like putting it out there, make
Yeah.
it known to the public.
Yeah. The same
Trans
way I do civic meetings on Sundays. Come on, y'all.
Right.
You know.
Transparency. Is that for the sake of transparency?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. So see the goal of this particular the goal is progress. You know. So yeah, we're gonna have private discussions on things while we're building our while we're planning on certain stuff. Yeah.
Mhm.
But once we've learned how to make progress, yo, it's a clarion call. Come on, get it.
Right.
Like it's written into the organization that our goal is to produce resources for the Moorish Science Temple of America, to produce educational resources through our activity.
Hmm.
Everything we do should be something that we can train the temples how to do. Like with this legislative effort that we're doing, like I have a couple temples who I deal with and build with, and I'm teaching them to do what the alliance has done. This is not something that we trying to, we found out how to do it and we gonna gatekeep it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Nah, not in the mildest form. We're calling it, come and be a part of it so you can learn how we're doing this. Let us help you do the same. Every temple should have like, and I don't be want like I don't be like to say certain stuff, because, you know, the advantage lies in the knowing how to use it, not just the having of a good thing, the possessing it, not just the possessing it, but knowing how to use it, you know?
Right.
But like every temple should have like a government liaison, a government affairs person. But that person must be properly trained in government relations. So all you Moors who think you super civic scientists, don't go calling yourself the government affairs more now and getting in the way and contacting government by having a temple and embarrassing yourself. Please don't do that. Learn what that is. Go to school, like the prophet told us.
European.
Get the good European education so you can be useful. You know what I mean? Like, because from my understanding, working for the state rep, the organizations that make the most impact, the organizations that make the most progress are the organizations that have the best relationship with the government. Like in our communities, oftentimes we have this anti-government perspective since the 70s. Oh, they killed our leaders, we anti. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. I was that too. But I had to start realizing, even though I have a healthy distrust for the government and I carry that everywhere I go, I'll be at my job letting them know, listen, let's not forget what our government has done to our people. We are in a position to make sure that it doesn't happen anymore, right? Like, I maintain that all the time. And so I say that to say, you know, even with that healthy distrust, I had to learn that even though I have a distrust, like I pay my phone bill and taxes come out. I go to the grocery store and they take in taxes. Gas is higher in Chicago because they've already added taxes. You know what I'm saying? Like groceries are higher in my city than they are in the suburbs because there are taxes. And those taxes are used to run the government. Mm-hmm. The government is taking that money and doing more than just policing with it. It's funding my public education. It's funding public health. You know what I mean? It funds community-based organizations. In Illinois, they've legalized marijuana, and the taxes from marijuana sales go back to the communities that were hit hardest by the war on drugs. So that means out of all these billions of dollars of weed taxes that they collecting, they're holding it for my community, and I ain't gonna go get it to help my community with it because I'm anti. That's foolish. Mm-hmm. It's immature because that's your mama tax money. That's my mama tax money. That's me and my cousin. That's all our tax money. Why should we only allow other communities to capitalize on everyone's contribution? Right. And so being in this position, I learned that it's the organizations that have the best relationships with the government. The government is the biggest philanthropist in the world. Oh, yeah. The government is giving out all of the money, and they're not just printing it. It's our tax money that they're giving back. Go get your piece of it and do for your community. You know, and so with that understanding, it just became real important for me, you know, to educate the Moors on what's available to us. You know what I'm saying? And to offer my skill and experience. Like I said, this is what I do for a living. This is what the state pays me to do this for other organizations. Like what kind of more would I be to not do it for us?
That's a fact. Now, before we wrap it up, I want you to explain to the people, how do they find you? How do they find what is the name of the organization again?
The Alliance for Moorish American Progress.
The Alliance. Here it is. The Alliance for Moorish American Progress. Yeah. Civics and engagement meetings on Google Meet Sundays 5 to 7 p.m. Can you give the people how to find you on social media if you want to give out an email?
Absolutely. I appreciate it, bro. So my social media is Shaw Ill. That's SHAW space EL. I don't too much use my CJ Shaw Ill page anymore. I got to a point where I couldn't add any more friends, so I started the other page. This is long before we could do professional pages, but I don't really use that page anymore. So Shaw Ill is the page that I use. You can find the organization at moorishamericanprogress.org. The website is under construction, but you can enter your email on that landing page, and you'll be added for our email updates. You'll get the update emails and newsletter and things of that nature. We had a Facebook group called the Alliance for Moorish American Progress. We just recently archived it as well, but you can still, I believe, join and read up on the things that we're doing, and get the links to how to engage with us now. We mostly now operate through a WhatsApp group. We have a WhatsApp community. We have several different of the think tanks in that WhatsApp community. So like our cultural preservation think tank, our civic think tank, they're all in there. And those are where the more active Moors are. You can email us at info@moorishamericanprogress.org. I'm on TikTok, bro_Shaw_ill. I'm on Instagram, bro_Shaw_ill. My hand is always extended to support and help wherever I'm able. I truly, sincerely believe that unity is the key. I'm a Libra, so I'm about working with others. Also, two more. Go to ilga.gov, ilga.gov, and in the search bar to the left, in the keyword, you can type in Moorish, and it'll bring up the 3 bills that we filed this year that refer to Moors directly. That's House Bill 3481, 3486, and 3627, if I'm not mistaken. In order, that is the bill to create the Illinois Moorish American Family Commission, the bill to designate August as Moorish American Awareness Month, and the bill to add Moorish or Asiatic as an ethnicity or race classification in Illinois. So those are the things that the Civic Committee is working on right now. Civic Committee and Cultural Heritage Committee is working on right now. And of course, we would love y'all support and participation. Real quick, we have a letter, email template. It's a link on my page. It's pinned to my page on Facebook. Click that link and submit your information to make sure that you send a support letter to your state rep, governor, and attorney general and senator. All you gotta do is enter your name and address and email address, and it automatically generates a support letter to let them know that you support our legislation. So again, go to my Facebook page, Shout Ill, click that link, it's pinned to the top, and support the legislation for awareness for our people. Appreciate you.
Oh, that's peace. I think Moors in other states should follow suit with that.
I'm hoping so. And I appreciate you for mentioning that, because I need to make clear also that this, even though these bills are in Illinois, this is just a prototype, so to speak. Our intention is to support and help other Moors in other states do the same, so that we can take our efforts federal. The congressmen here in Illinois have already told us that they're interested in going federal with it, but they want to make sure that we'll have the same support nationwide, right, in the federal arena that we're having, to organize in the state of Illinois.
Right. Now, before we cut out, I just want to put this out there. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I would like for you to come up again and talk about this in detail.
I would love to, bro. I would love to. I enjoy speaking with you. I enjoy building with you, bro. I had a good time on your program. The conversation,
likewise.
Fluid, and we talked about some things that I think are useful to the community, so I would love to, bro, by all means.
Indeed. On that note, thank y'all for checking in. Thank y'all for checking us out. NYP, see y'all tomorrow. Well, actually, this is going to be posted on Saturday. But yeah, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Sunday, Eric Muhammad, I got from the Nation of Islam on Sunday. See y'all tomorrow. And we're out of here. Peace.